Welcome to the Four Corners 912 project discussion on rules of the game. For a country to exist peaceably as a unified people in the game of life, we all must be playing by the same rule. The rules for our country were established in the Constitution that was agreed upon to abide by. This was and is the supreme law of the land.
To follow the rules, you must know what they are. They are few and clear. We hope to help you all to better understand what the rules are, as we are looking to elect new representatives in local and state government offices next year.
They take an oath to uphold the constitutions of both the state and the United States.
What are they to uphold and protect?
We will begin this regular discussion beginning with the Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments of the Constitution.
Welcome back to Four Corners 912, Rules of the Game. Today we're going to be looking at a couple different ideas. One is we need to look at what happened the other night, City Council meeting. Then we need to take a look at we got more bills in the state legislature. Where are we going with those? But we want to be sure and thank our sponsors, Don Brunson from Woodland Life. Please get your insurance there. Check her out. She's got a good deal for you, I'm sure. And White Eagle Antenna Service. They're just waiting to fix your antenna up for you so you can get that free TV. Bud, that was a very interesting meeting at the City Council the other night. And it really raised a question to me. The place was packed. And
many hundreds.
Yeah, they had, three rooms? The council chambers was full.
Council chamber.
And two other rooms were full.
The training room and the conference room, I think they called it.
Yeah.
But yeah, two additional rooms plus the hallway outside the council chamber was pretty full.
Yeah. Well, I was watching on Mesa TV where Zedekiah had broadcasting it live on Facebook, so I was watching it. Geez, I got tired. It went on and on and on. But I could see the big crowd, and it really raised a question in me, because we've had issues, I don't care whether it's legislative issues, questions come up with the city council, questions come up with our county board, our state people, and people get all upset, and they'll maybe write a letter, or maybe they might make a phone call, and that's it. Here we had a situation where we had a new code proposal. We had a code in the city. All this was just going to be an amendment to it, or updating.
New and improved version.
Yeah, just updating it. Been going on for 5 years, and no big deal. All of a sudden, we have 200-300 people upset and willing to do something. What happened?
Now, let's start off with City Council, okay? They don't send out personal invitations to the citizens. They put their stuff, their agenda and so forth and so on their website, and maybe get it in the paper once in a while. So that's probably the best they can do insofar as notifying the public. But there's such small items that folks pass over them. Okay.
Yeah.
You read some column. You read the headline in the paper and say, But what happened was, some folks actually looked into it because their business would be affected by the new code. So they got to, maybe I better read the new code so I know how I'm going to conduct my business. And they really took the bull by the horns. And I'm talking about Dave Waters and his wife and daughter. They really did spearhead this in the sense of, and they questioned themselves, how do we get the word out on this? They called and I don't know which individual they called, but they called the Republican Women's Club of all people. And they really took the notifications, and they got the word out, and folks passed it along, and it became quite well known that this was going on. And there were other people involved in actually getting the word out and reading the code. Okay, I read part of it. The people I'm going to mention read it all, more than once. I know one lady read it more than once to make sure that she understood it. But you had Dave Waters and Lana Waters and their daughter Tiffany Randall. They did yeoman's work on that, reading the code, trying to analyze it, and make bullet points to where other folks could understand it. You know, take it out of that legislative language and put it in everyday language. And I mentioned the Republican Women's, Olive Lurby, excuse me, and Miko South. You had Mindy Nelson in there. You had Jody Henley in there. The fellow that we had here 2 weeks ago, Charles Jeter, got involved in it long distance wise. He called in the city council meeting the other night from where's it? San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego.
He's in San Diego, and he called in over the cell lines. So that's what got it all going. And it's a perfect example of the kind of government that our founders foresaw.
Mm-hmm.
It is a citizen government. It's not top-down autocracy or monarchy. It's a citizen-up involvement. And we have become distracted by the busyness of life today. There's so many things that we get involved in that city government, county government, state government is way down on the bottom of our list, except for a few nutcases.
Yeah, I agree. We're busy. We got things to do, and over time we've adapted an idea that these are good people. I voted them in office. I can trust them.
Yeah.
And it's not that we can't trust them, but they have their agendas, they have their ideas, the way they're doing things, and pretty soon there's a separation of I guess you say, thinking, where they're kind of in control, and it's just natural. Well, to get things done, we got to move things ahead. We got to take a little authority and keep stepping ahead, and the people have let them, and that actually encouraged them to do these things, because I got things I want to do. You go do it for me. And this is the mentality. We've separated our governmental system as it's set up.
That's right.
They're supposed to be our representatives, and we are actually asking them to be our ruler and to control us. In a sense,
that's right.
And I don't want to mess with it. I've elected you to take care of it for me, and I trust you to do it the way I would do it. And that ain't
going to happen, is it?
Yeah, well, what do you expect? We got, in town, you got 8,000 people, all of them expecting them to do it the way they think they should do it.
That's right.
And how do you do 8,000 different things?
Well, and what happens is the candidate that's elected is going to represent a certain segment of those 8,000.
That's right.
You know, I mean, there's going to be certain people that agree with certain things and certain other people differently.
Right.
And so during a campaign, especially a short campaign like we have for city council, it's hard to plumb the depths of that candidate and how they think, what they might want to accomplish. And But they get elected, and they're going to try to implement their policy downward through the government.
Mm-hmm.
The other problem you got is you have these people in government that have been there for 20 years.
Right.
They got a different agenda, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And it bubbles up to the council.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes you wind up with the tail wagging the dog.
Yep.
And that's what we've seen in this current makeup of our city council. The staff was driving this, not the city council, except for one particular member.
And that happens in really in all levels of our government.
It does.
Whether it's city, up to the county, up to the state,
Mm-hmm.
and up to the federal. The staffs are really the ones that those that are elected officers are relying on the staff to help direct them to what the people want.
Now, how does this work?
Yeah.
Now, that's fine if you need a 20-year career staffer to tell me how the system works, how the process works. That's one thing. But don't be telling me your ideas about governing. I'm the elected official. I decide what governing is. And we see way too little of that. Again, the staff is driving the agenda.
Well, the main thing I want to see us do is we're looking at electing new offices, both in the city very soon and in the county.
And majority in both cases.
Yeah.
We are electing the majority in both cases.
And we have to rethink our involvement as public. Instead of, well, they're going to get elected, they're going to do the job, I'm going to trust them. We have to stay in tune. The people, through this city council thing, have awakened. And it became from everyday people.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes the people themselves, not groups like, okay, we're in 912.
Right.
We say, are we going to do it? No.
No.
It takes everybody.
It takes everybody.
Everybody. The
Neighbor
people,
talking to neighbor.
Right. Nothing's going to change unless the people, which is, we say, we the people,
Yep.
is our government. Well, this is a good example of we the people have taken their role as government and asked our leaders, I say leaders, not rulers, to do as we are kind of directing them. So
Well,
don't go back to sleep.
The thing that surprised me, when the council did vote Tuesday night, I was surprised at the unanimity of the council.
I was too. I was shocked, to be honest with you.
I know the agenda of a couple of them, and their agenda does not include listening to the citizens that elected them.
I responded to that.
And a couple of them are leaving office.
Yeah.
And I expected them to thumb their nose at the public. Yeah. And so I was pleasantly surprised, and I thank the council for doing what they did.
And I saw that as a hopeful thing that they themselves had their awakening of how things really were supposed to work. And
7 years and 9 months too late.
but it was a good thing, and it was very encouraging. And I just want to encourage our population out here to don't go back to sleep.
Keep up with it. And was the lesson learned for these candidates that are going to run for these vacancies? Did they learn anything from Tuesday night as to how they will conduct themselves?
You know, I just got a list of candidates that we know of that is going to be running for city council. 14 of them.
14
Let's
for
see.
5 seats.
Bill Banks, Sue Betts, Jeff Byerly, Stephanie Carver, Joe Farley, Raymond Goodall, Amy Huckins, Rachel Medina, Rafe Bryan, David Rainey, Leroy Roberts, Justin Vasterling, Jason Witt, Arlena Yazzie. There's 5 seats.
5 seats.
14 people running.
And I only know one of them.
I don't really know any of them. I met a couple of them. That's about it. But
Ray Goodall has been with us, the 9/12 meetings, since the beginning. He was at City Council 2 sessions ago. Spoke quite well on this whole flap about the city park being renamed Veterans Park.
yeah,
And some comments that have upset the veterans. When Ray Goodall first came to the 9/12 group, he was as clueless as the rest of us.
we've all learned.
So
But we've got a bunch of them, and we've got, what is it, the election is in April, first week of April.
I think it's first week, yeah.
And so we've got a little bit of time that we need to find out who they are. As you said, what did they learn from this session out there with the city council over this code? What is their role? What is their understanding of their job?
Yep.
And so it's going to be an interesting
Be an interesting
couple months.
election, won't it?
It will be. And we've got 2 months to figure something out. So main thing is people stay in touch, stay involved, get more involved even, and look at what's happening and what needs to happen in our government system.
And Dexter and I were talking just a few moments ago. For those of you that know about the 9/12, we have always, from day one, invited every candidate for public office to come to our meeting and tell us about yourself and let us ask questions of you. And so we were contemplating how we might do that with 14 candidates. So stay tuned for that. We haven't figured out the mechanics of it yet. So it'll be an interesting time with 14. It'll be like the Democrat debate when they first started. What they have 24, 20 people up on that stage, had to split it up for 2 nights. And, hopefully we don't have to run into that situation. And then we've got, we don't know all of the candidates for county commissioner yet. So
No.
I looked at the website a couple of weeks ago and didn't have the Secretary of State's website. I didn't have much luck finding out anything, but I didn't spend a great deal of time researching it. But it's time to do that also. So we need to keep our eye on the ball.
Yep.
Like Dexter said, if 300 thereabouts can come out on a single issue like this, and it's an important issue, when government wants to take over your property, that's kind of important, right? Now, they deny that it did, but I read enough of it.
It did.
And it did. It totally took over your property. You needed permission to do everything except cut the grass. And so much of other legislation, from city council to the county to the state, accomplishes the same thing. And that's why we read the state legislation to see how that's going for the diminution of our rights. That's why we do it and get the word out.
The reason, just very summary, reason why we had a good turnout at the city council issue is because that very thing you just said is people recognized their rights were being taken away.
Correct.
They've been being taken away for 25 years. A little bit of time, pick it at it. And it's culminated with a large, sudden How did that happen?
Yeah.
And this is why we have to look at what is our Constitution about our property rights, our liberty, and to live our life as we choose. And our leaders become more directors in good intentions, trying to help us do it, end up taking it away.
I'm from the government. I'm here to help you.
As we look at this, let's look at some of the legislation that's coming up. Then we got some new ones that they're hitting us up with. We'll try to put these on our website again, and so you can keep track of them. But
Yeah, there weren't too many over the last 2 weeks, so some of the talking heads, the so-called smart people in Denver, okay? Well, the Democrats have total control of state government. Are they going to go full bore with their agenda? Some say yes. Or will they hold off because this is an election year and they don't want to rile up too many people with their radical agenda? Folks say that. Well, I don't know.
well, by looking at some of these that you picked out these few that are new ones, it's more what they do not do than what they do. I see here some of them that sent to the Kill Committee that
Oh, yeah.
I don't think should have been sent to the Kill Committee.
Exactly right. The very ones that do impact us individually at home
In a positive manner.
in a positive way. Kill Committee.
The first one up there, what do you see about this 1160, House Bill 1160, Drug Transparency Insurance Premium Reductions? That sounds pretty good.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
What do you think?
It doesn't do it. The big takeaway I got out of it was, number one, state government's got no business involved in health care policy. It ain't in the Constitution. I don't look to the government to make my health care choices better or worse. And usually, if they're involved in it, it'll be worse. But the biggest thing I saw here that had any sort of constitutional impact other than that, it would require the drug companies to disclose what they call proprietary information. Well, there goes your competition.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly right.
And so that bothered me on that particular bill. And when the government talks, especially this iteration of our state government, you see ads on TV about your health care insurance premiums being reduced because of government policy. Well, guess what? Your actual premium went up. It's just that the taxpayers picked up, okay, I reduced your bill, but I increased the bill to the taxpayer. You are not getting a reduced health care insurance policy. You're getting a more costly policy. It's just not coming directly out of your pocket.
Regulations do not result in less cost.
No, they don't.
Any regulation costs.
Yep.
And the only person that pays the cost is you.
One way or another.
It comes out of the individual. It doesn't
Yep.
come out of the companies. They do not lose anything.
Corporations do not pay taxes.
What about-
They don't.
No, they don't.
They
But you
collect
could.
it from me
That's right.
and pass it through.
What about this other? There's actually about 2 or 3 of them here in the same
Yes.
thing, but 1162 and 1163 in the House bill. California screaming.
Environmental wacko nut jobs.
Prohibit food establishments' use of polystyrene and styrofoam.
Yep.
Ban.
Outlawed in the state of Colorado.
One in 1163, its companion thing is here is the management of single-use products.
Yeah. Plastic straws.
Plastic straws. We laugh at California for their straws.
Yep.
Well, here we come.
This is it right there.
Right here.
Plastic bags in the grocery store.
Yeah, no carry. You know,
Now,
this one here was...
We're going to save the environment by trying to get you off of these plastic bags.
But the interesting thing on that one, if you read through that, all of the stuff that's wrapped in plastic is okay.
I guess so.
So if it's in the store, it's wrapped in plastic, no problem. If it has a styrofoam base that it's wrapped around, that's okay.
So you're going to go to paper bags, right?
Well, maybe. But this is where it gets...
That's where they're trying to push you.
And they say you can't have the plastic bag to take your groceries home. The store may give you a paper bag, but they have to charge you for it up to 10 cents.
No. That's not the wording.
Okay.
It says at least
10%,
right. 10 cents a bag.
And
the store keeps the money.
Yeah, but did you catch? They cannot, let me put it this way. The store has to charge you for the paper bag.
Yes.
It's demanding the store do what they tell it to do. The store can't decide, we're trying to make a good business and we're going to compete with the other guy. We'll sack your groceries in a paper bag and not charge you for it.
But
That's just good business.
But if this is good environmental policy to get rid of plastic straws in your little plastic Walmart bag in favor of paper sacks, I thought the environmentalists were opposed to cutting down trees too. Where do you think a paper sack comes from?
Well, of course, the obvious thing is we don't want you to use paper sacks either. We want you to bring your own little cloth bag.
Where do you think the cloth bag came from?
Well,
agriculture.
Today, it could come from hemp.
Hemp. Well, that'd be okay.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
Well,
then we could smoke it when we get home.
It'd be even better if it came from real marijuana plants,
right.
not the hemp.
That's a true story.
That'd be even better.
But anyway,
you could make your way home sniffing the bag.
This bill is just totally outrageous. It's asinine. Here's a good one. The 1168, deadly force against an intruder at a business.
Going to the kill committee.
Kill committee.
Yep. Direct. In Colorado, we have the so-called Make My Day law.
Right.
So this, and it's only your residence.
That's right.
And
the castle.
Yeah, the castle law. For several years, this bill has been introduced to expand that to your business, even to the extent that an employee would be held harmless for the castle law at a business. Clearly, a Second Amendment issue, or in the Colorado Constitution, what is it, Article 2, Section 23 or something like that. Anyway, the right to keep and bear arms and defend yourself and so forth and so on.
No,
Yeah,
this is strictly a right to defend yourself.
Exactly.
In a business, and they, as expected, sent to the kill committee.
And again, in the Colorado Constitution, we have the unalienable right to acquire, possess, and protect our property. That's in the Colorado Constitution, Article 2, Section 3. And then the right to keep and bear arms is further on down.
And they don't want us to protect our property.
Don't want you to protect it. You might hurt somebody.
What do we got here? 1172. No abandonment of water rights for efficiencies.
Yeah. This one surprised me.
It surprised me who introduced it, actually.
Yep. Colorado water law is so convoluted that 10 Philadelphia lawyers don't even know can't agree on what it says. But evidently, if you have a certain allotment of water and you don't use it all consistently for a number of years, and I think it was 10. So if if I have the equivalent of 1 acre foot, and I only use a half of that over that period of time, and don't quote me on the 10 years, but somebody can actually file for what you don't use. And especially now that we're getting more efficient usage of water, MVI is upgrading to enclosed systems, as the budget allows. You don't lose your 1 acre foot allotment because you're not using it. Somebody else can't file on your water.
This is probably likely an offshoot of the concern they're having with the Colorado River Compact and the water downstream, and particularly up in the Grand Junction area, they're faced with trying to compensate the water usage and making your field fallow for a period of time, not using your water. They're protecting that.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose your water, right?
That's right.
But that actually could be a good one. House Bill 1174, statutory fixes of certain tax laws with which conflict. What did you get?
Well, there was actually 4 bills there, one right after the other.
Right.
That are, as the legislature over time rewrites a bill, section so-and-so of state law so-and-so is amended to read yada, 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 you wind up with conflicts with another bill, or even, especially in a more lengthy bill, you might wind up with a linguistic conflict of a prior paragraph. So these bills are aimed at fixing that.
So why did they send it to the Kill Committee?
I have no idea. It doesn't make, fixing the language seems like a good idea.
Well, what strikes my mind is they obviously would see that as a reduction in your taxes or getting it straightened out. They don't want to, I don't know.
I did not read those 4 bills.
So I looked at them.
I read the summary.
But it doesn't make it clear what they're doing.
That's right. Shout out to the Legislative Council, which is that's who puts these summaries out. They do a decent job. I read enough of their analysis, and I read enough of the actual language, and I haven't found them to be egregiously wrong.
Yeah, good. Here's another one. School employee paycheck transparency.
Ooh.
That sounds good.
Well,
and notice it was sent to the Kill Committee too.
You know why?
Yeah, I know why.
Slam at the unions.
Exactly right.
The unions, they collect your union dues, and then they campaign for, 99.9% of one particular party on the left side of the ledger. And this goes back to what was called, I think it refers, the language of the bill doesn't say so, but in the late 70s or early 80s, a guy named Beck, not Glenn Beck, an employee of AT&T and a member of the Communications Workers of America, filed suit claiming that his union dues were being used for political purposes with which he disagreed. And The Supreme Court rendered in the Beck decision that the unions had to set up a process whereby they determined this amount of your union dues is for negotiations and employee issues, and this amount was for political purposes. And then the employee could file for a rebate of whatever that amount was. Well, I was with the phone factory. I was with the Communication Workers of America. They set up a system where you had, I think it was 10 days during Thanksgiving week to file this form to get the rebate, which I think it was like 1% or less, okay? So your union dues were $30 or $40 a month. You're going to get back 20 cents, okay? Yeah, we're going to do that Thanksgiving week when the wife wants me to baste the turkey. When I retired, now, like I said, that was, let me just say 1980, 81, somewhere along in there. I retired in 2002. That's 22 years later. There had never been a rebate by the Communication Workers of America to an employee. Not one.
Well, this here is pretty obvious. They sent a kill committee because they really don't want you to find out.
That's right.
All the teachers find out how your dues is being spent.
Because the next step would be, once I know how much you're spending, I'm going to ask for some of it back.
Right.
And they don't want that.
And your dues is being spent against you. You really don't want it to be happening that
That's
way.
right.
Another quickie here is concerns me. Senate Bill 121, manage gray wolves in Colorado. Well, on the surface, that sounds all right. We need to manage them, because we do need to manage them. They're here. But you know what that is? That shows me, in fact, by who introduced it, is very telling, is that they're fearful that the citizens' vote coming up, the initiative and against forced introduction of wolves may fail. So let's have a bill in legislature saying we're going to go ahead and do it.
Some people in Denver, the pundits, have claimed that introducing this bill was hopeful in killing the initiative, because the initiative was a little bit too egregious for them. And so they're hoping that because this is there, and if they pass it, it'll be already on the books, and folks won't need to vote for the initiative. So that was one guy's opinion on why this bill was introduced.
Either way, they want wolves to be introduced.
They're already
one
here.
One way or another.
They're already here. They're up in the Craig area. I don't know. The reports I saw didn't specify more precisely, but it's up somewhere between Craig and Steamboat.
And that's verified. They're elsewhere. We know that.
Remember the bird count from years ago about the sage grouse? Remember that? Had the meeting, had the meeting over it.
Yeah.
Okay. We come out of the meeting, and what was his name? Matt? Was it Matt at that time?
Yeah.
So he explains to the commissioners all about the science of counting birds. And so that's why we need to do this, because the formula of this and this and this and this. You and I and a couple other guys were standing out on the sidewalk after the meeting. And I asked Matt, I said, now, you got this formula that you use. You go out there and you spot birds and you calculate this formula. I said, how many birds did you not see?
They don't know.
How many wolves are here?
Yeah.
We don't know.
They don't know any of those any wildlife. There's no way of knowing.
No way of knowing.
Well, you know what? We are running out a lot of time, running out of good stuff to talk about. So, main thing is get involved, write your legislature, look up these bills, and just like we did with the city council, get involved.
Yes.
Don't assume that somebody else is going to do it for you. We'll have our...
Let's don't do it in a panic mode like this.
No.
If we see these little bits and pieces, let us do our little bits and pieces,
That's
rather
right.
than letting it accumulate and become a crisis and a panic.
Right on. We'll have the addresses for our legislators. You read these bills. Look them up for yourself.
Look them up.
Ones that you're concerned about, write your legislator. So at least he knows. Whether he does anything about it, that you can't control.
That's right.
But you have to let him know.
And if you
And
go to our
if you-
website, we have the posting from last week.
Yeah, and
Has the legislature and website, and it has our 2 elected state legislators.
yeah. So stay in tune. Contact them, and look forward to next year. So we'll see you next week with hopefully some new information.
We'll have some new information and maybe not bore you so much with these bills.
Right.
We pick something else for a change.
See you next time, guys.
Bye-bye.